This is Chris. Yep, see my winter beard? Yeah, winter is coming. You don't believe me. It's hot outside now, but a couple weeks, we'll be shoveling snow. So, aviation stories. Been a crazy day already, but I've been traveling for the better part of 30, 40 years by airplane, and I'll tell you a few stories. First of all, I started traveling in the early 80s, and I used to fly overseas. I did gigs in Tokyo and Australia and China and India and places like that when I was in my 20s. And back then we used to fly the 747s, the big 747s that were new then, and they used to have 2 floors on them, right? So nowadays there's seats upstairs and seats downstairs, and there's no fun. But in the old days, I was right at the point where at deregulation, that's when I started traveling, before they reconfigured all the planes. So flying to Australia, like a 21-hour flight, there used to be a bar in the airplane right between first class and business class, just a bar, and you could stand there and eat peanuts and drink all night. They just had bottles of booze out, and yeah, we just had a party for 20 something hours. On a flight that long, you can get drunk, recover, and get drunk again, so. But yeah, so the second one I'll tell you is I remember coming back from Detroit one night, and I had been delayed, so it was really late. We're coming into Boston, and it was on some old equipment. It was an old DC-10 or a DC-11. Those are the ones with the engine up on the tail, the big engine up on the tail, big planes. And I remember we were coming into Boston, because you can feel it when they start to decelerate into the airport. You just get a sense for these things after a while. And I was the only one awake on the plane. I'm looking out the window, and I could feel them coming down. And then there was this cloud cover, and we broke through the clouds, and all I could see was the ocean about 300 feet below me. And obviously that wasn't where the guy wanted to be, because he just slammed the engines full throttle, and we went whoop, back up, came around again, and landed on the second pass. So that was kind of fun. And then one time I was hanging out down in the Allentown, Pennsylvania airport, and we look outside, and Air Force One is practicing touch and goes. So this, the big blue and white 747 SP, they'd come screaming into the Allentown runway, touch the wheels down once, and then power off. So they're doing that touch and goes. They were doing it all afternoon while we were sitting there. The pilots were practicing emergency maneuvers in Air Force One, which is kind of cool. And then finally, so I never got any. I've been doing this for 40 years. I've never had any kind of weird, scary stuff happen like you hear about. And I've been in all sorts of equipment. But I remember one time flying into Missoula, Montana, someplace, and the pilot comes on. It's a little prop jet, right? Like 10 of us on this plane in the middle of Montana, and the guy comes on and goes, "Well, the cloud cover's pretty heavy. Airport's socked in, but we're going to take a run at it anyhow." Hey, sure enough, yeah, the guy flew it and landed, so what can you do? And if you want to hear some good stories, though, ask a flight attendant. Flight attendants have the best stories. Flight attendants and nurses. Give them a couple of drinks, you get the best stories. All right, cheers. Enjoy your, what day is it? Wednesday.